I was probably in grade 5. I remember a teacher coming up to me. He said, I'm going to go see your parents. And I thought, geez, the trouble I've been getting into has gone to a whole new level. He goes, you're a natural singer, you're a really good singer. So I'll go and tell your parents, go see what they can do. So that's how it all started. I was really helped along by this guy who had nothing to gain from it. Went all the way to my dad's house and said, you know, your kid's talented, see if you can do something. Pretty amazing when I look back, Mr. Farah. And to this day, I have gratitude for him. That's why I became a teacher.
I didn't know anything about Frank. I Googled him when I got home because I had no clue. I was just like, oh, here he is. Oh, he's got this music school, he does this. I didn't know anything about the dude. I was like, wow, I feel a little honored, actually. But he didn't make me feel nervous or uncomfortable. So as soon as I came in, he's like, can you sing something for us? And I just did. But the first time you meet somebody, it can be a challenge. So he puts people at ease.
To me, there's no right and wrong. I say this to students all the time. Sing with technique, and the sound that you produce is the right sound. It was this, yeah, volume. Right, what was the other one? Do you remember?
The sideways and then inclusion.
Yeah, this is the important one. This is dialectic. So we're changing emotions and changing feelings, okay? I'm really interested in how we react to feelings as adults. It's really important because we're scared to be in our feelings a lot. My mother had a beautiful voice, and I always remember hearing her just singing along. She could have been a really professional singer, just that her dad in those days in Italy, you know, the women stayed home. I think it broke her too.
Being an adult is very much like work, pay bills, die, which not a fan.
It doesn't matter if you don't enjoy what you're doing. It's about, you know, making money and buying a house and things like that. And whilst there's nothing wrong with that, to see success solely as that is, you know, I don't agree with it. You know, a lot of people, well, we're taught in a society not to be vulnerable, especially as men, actually. But I think to be vulnerable is really important, you know, especially for an artist. Art changes people, people change the world. That we can enjoy, get meaning of, get present, be vulnerable, letting go, all those things, which are really important, and things that society tells us we shouldn't do.
I think it's important for the teacher to be like, okay, so to show me what you've got, we need to know who you are first. And he really, really emphasises on that, and it's very important.
He liked my voice, which was it's really flattering, and like, yeah, coming from someone as good as him to say I had a beautiful voice was, yeah, really, it's a good start.
What I've loved about working with Frank is that it's just the vibe. So we're in a little venue, you know, it's a music venue, there's speakers around, there's artwork up.
I always come away feeling really motivated and really inspired. Frank uses a lot of visualisations in his lessons, which really work for me because sometimes just picturing something can really help me reach a different note.
He doesn't tell you off, he directs you, sort of thing. So you can see it's from a part, you know, place in his heart, not just trying to, you know, be king of everyone and that. Like, he tries to direct us in the right direction, and you can feel it. Like, at the end of the day, you know when someone's genuine and you know when someone's not. And I feel that he's very genuine.
He's been doing this for decades now. He does get into the teacher mode from time to time, and I just end up picking up a few beautiful nuggets of wisdom, you know, where I can enhance my vocal abilities.
Like, you got the talent, you got the voice, just sing, you know, just forget everybody's around, and just, he's very motivational like that.
That was a great effort. For 10 years of age.
My brother was there and he goes, now the main show is not the guitar or, you know, the bits and pieces. Now the main show is like pretty much like the vocals accompanied. I was just doing a solo act. And so he was like, yeah, like the vocals have improved so much that, you know, it's completely changed the artist, really.
It's not just that. I guess it's more about just, you know, like how well you can sort of encompass those techniques and do it properly. And once you sort of feel comfortable with it, then it just comes out so much easier. You know, like I'm finding I'm hitting notes that I used to really struggle with before.
So it's not as easy as it looks.
No.
No.
We have a good laugh. I love my Mondays. I really look forward to coming every Monday to sing with these guys.
And just by looking at these paintings, we were able to say like, oh, that's a sad song. And he was actually able to get into it with me and explain it and like actually give a deeper meaning to like when you sing and you hear different like melodies and chords and stuff. I definitely didn't realise that like if you hear a note you can think of like red or yellow. But when Frank introduced it to me, I was like, oh, I actually like get what you mean now, like that note's purple.
Trying to find ways where we can be present, not to be in our thoughts so much. I would say that's the killer. You know, I see it with some students, they find it very difficult to just let go. Telling a story, we're storytellers. That's what we are. You know, we're not allowed to feel our feelings. It's knocked out of us as little kids, you know, don't be scared. By the time I was 12 and I finished with TV, the whole TV program finished, didn't do music, but what I did do is I was drawing and painting until I was about 17 or 18. Michelangelo was a man of a Renaissance man, so he did a little bit of everything. Always curious about the world, that was his driving force. And then, you know, probably in the 1800s it became, no, if you want to be, you know, really good at what you do, you concentrate on one thing. Now, I think right around the world artists are doing what I'm doing. You know, contemporary multidisciplinary works. Picasso said that. A really good artist, you need to have technique and you need to then just learn how to paint like a child. Forgetting all your thoughts, losing all the technique. The real focus of my art is to be multidisciplinary, to do different arts and bounce off it. So that's the dialectic side of it. You know, dialectic is two things coming together and coming something new in it. I was inspired by a particular style of music that I wrote, and this one you can gather, it has a lot of movement. It was pretty fast. Do you know what I'm saying? This one, the music was more flowing, and there's the flowing. There's a line, I'll convert it to a flow feeling. Shape, structure, colour, mood. So the colour of the art lends me to some, or directs me to some sort of mood, a particular mood, texture. Texture is the instrument. And that's the one I'm working on. That's one of mine. A very famous artist, Basquiat, said that music is the decoration of time and art is the decoration of space. And what I've been toiling with is these two things, time and space. And the thing that's tied it together is the singing voice. The singing voice is the thing that can get us present straight away. I think people that I've known who have committed suicide were people that didn't quite feel like they achieved enough. There's never enough money to be made. And that's why, again, I sat outside. I never really believed that money was the end goal. I think the experience is, and that's what I'm trying to paint, is the experience. They're feeling like they've let themselves down, especially men, you know, because we are judged by what we do, let's be honest. And then people who have actually got there and feel like they've done, you know, they've bought 3 or 4 houses or whatever, but there's other things going on in their life.
James McConville, lawyer and mediator. A lot of the work involves dealing with people at difficult stages in their life. Law, there's a lot of relationship breakdowns. Commercial law, there's business breakdowns and disputes between partners in businesses that turn nasty. I've been buying Frank's paintings for years. I've been doing music lessons, singing and other lessons with him for years. It's an important part of the week. Frank and I often talk about how his art, his classes are an important part of dealing with their mental health.
When I'm really terrified, when the performance anxiety's got me by the throat, I can't pitch at all.
Yes.
You know, I can barely get a squeak out. Yeah. So the more confidence I have in my voice, in doing a cappella, means that my pitch is going to be there because I'm not terrified.
Yeah. I've been singing all my life. I come from quite a musical family. I never really thought about my voice as an instrument. It was just something that I did. I suffered terribly from performance anxiety anyway, so I was never going to get up in front of an audience until I decided that I wanted to.
Great harmonising, very good. You're singing Italian. The Italian girl singing Italian. I am a son of an Italian immigrant that came to Australia in the 50s, so post-war. You know, grew up in Footscray, or West Footscray. There was a lot of Italians and Greek immigrant families there, and there was definitely struggles. Was very disadvantaged, and there was a lot of mental illness there, and alcoholism and drugs and stuff like that. And you could have easily have been swept up in it. Maybe even when I was 6 or 7 and listening to my mum sing. My mum had a beautiful voice, and I just used to sit there and listen to her. I remember listening to her voice. You could hear the pain in her voice. Even at that age, you could sense something special was going on there, you know.
He was easily able to read you, so he could tell if like you had had a stressful day or if something was going on. He'd always be able to know, so then he'd always be able to get it out of me.
Bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, 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 tutti la gente che passeranno, tu mi
You know, I come here, I sing, we chat, and it's a therapy for me. I then take that thought process, that ideology with me back to my students.
My dad would work 10 hours a day. The archetypal person was someone who would just work at a factory or work in a trade, and here I was doing art. Looking back, I think my parents just didn't know what to do, because my dad used to push me a lot, you know, and that was another immigrant thing. You know, if you see a child that's has a talent in something, you push and push and push. If I had to learn a song, if I was performing, he would put me in my bedroom and just throw the words at me and just lock the door and make sure that I'd learn them at the age of 12, you know, things like that. And he was constantly on it all the time. He'd tie me under the bed, you know, he'd tie me under the bed and say, that's your punishment. It was cruel to be kind, that's the way they thought in those days. I was considered probably a child prodigy when I was younger, and then it all stopped. The show finished on TV, and then I think my dad was probably disappointed in me. You know, I didn't want to do it anymore. It was just too much pressure. I remember my mum getting involved and saying, that's enough. She could see that I was struggling. And probably at the age of 13, 14, when the show finished, it really backfired. So I hated music for a long time. Hated music. It took me a long time to get back into it. The most formative years, really, from about 12 to 17, 18. By the time I was 19 or 20, I was having panic attacks and things like that. It started when I was about 19, and when it was really bad, like till about 30. I think where I was lucky was that I had art to always go back to. It's a constant battle, it really is. I just try not to think about it. And that's what art helps me do too. It kicks me out of my thoughts. And that's why I paint experiences. That's why it's so important to me, emotions. That's why being a research-based artist is really, really important, because art has given me answers, or at least coming up with questions to help me delving with life and the challenges of life. I think a lot of times when we have anxiety and panic attacks, it's like we lose touch with who we really are. What art does for me, at least, is it centers me back into who I am. Totally present, that's probably what I get. What I have been doing and what I've developed is what I call RAID art. And RAID art is an acronym for research, arts, dialectic experiences. And that's why I've got stuff on myself up here, because I paint my own experiences. I think it's really important for me to paint my own music, because that really ties my whole sort of life together, because those two things have been the governing things that I've been doing. Well, the art that I've always wanted to do is art that just doesn't sit there. It has to do something. It has to help people. Getting people out of their thoughts and questioning things. Yeah.
It always makes me feel better. It always reminds me of the importance of art and creativity, and having an outlet that allows a sense of fun, individuality. I think it shouldn't be lost that simple things such as art, it doesn't need to be black and white and doom and gloom all the time.
To me, art is tapping into humanity, and that's what I'm interested in. Being in touch with other people, it reminds you of your own humanity. Mm-hmm. And art is a great way of doing it, through your voice or through painting or sculpture or whatever it is. But somehow I've won a lot of people over, put it that way. A lot of people have jumped on board, realising that you can do something productive out of art and constructive and help people. And I know there are some people who think art's one thing and life's another, but I think you can become a better person if you do art. You know, just learn from the tenets of what we can learn from art. So yeah. So what most students do is they come to me to be good artists, but also wiser people, if you like.